Chapter 4. There was no room for them in the inn. There is something about that knock of Joseph's that hurts. If Joseph and Mary were to ride into your town tonight, you'd have a heart. You'd take them into your home or phone for an ambulance and get them to a hospital. Most of us would do that because that's the way we are, after 2,000 years of Jesus Christ. But people weren't like that in old Bethlehem. They were suspicious of strangers, especially strangers who arrived in the middle of the night. They didn't put welcome on their doormats in those days. They wouldn't have opened the door for a stranger from Galilee because the people up there were rough and tough, always fighting the Romans or fighting among themselves. Galileans weren't popular anywhere but in Galilee. The courtyard of the inn was jammed with donkeys and camels and swearing, weary men. The inn was crowded. There wasn't even standing room. Joseph must have known there wouldn't be any room for him and his Mary, but he knocked anyway. What else could he do? Knock, knock, knock. A baby is about to be born, the most important baby ever to be born on this earth. Let us in, let him in, out of the cold and the night. Knock, knock, knock. The sleepy innkeeper came rubbing his eyes and opened the door. He didn't waste any words. He just told them there wasn't any room. They'd have to go somewhere else. No room. Those are the most heart-rending words in the Bible. No room. Would you have said that? Don't you say it every day? Don't you say it to Christ when he asks you for your heart? Go away and let me sleep. I've got no time for you, no room in my heart. I don't know you. We're all innkeepers, with room for everybody and everything but him. Not many of us really let him in. I heard once about an old Scottish minister who used to go around knocking on the doors of his town and asking whoever answered the knock, "Does Jesus Christ live here?" People stared at him and told jokes about him. They thought he was crazy. But was he? Did those jokers wisecrack to cover up a guilty conscience? But sometimes I feel sorry for that innkeeper, just as I feel sorry for anyone who turns a cold shoulder on Jesus Christ. He just didn't know what was happening and what he was missing. He just said, "No room," as cold as the ice in Alaska. I think he'd have taken them in if he'd known. Maybe we've been a little rough on him, criticizing him as we do. To me, he was like a fellow wandering in the desert, stumbling along in the night past a spring of cold water he couldn't see and didn't even know was there. No room. That's what he said. Then, I figure it this way, then his wife came up behind him and took one look at Mary on her donkey and told them to go out to the stable. The inn was a rambling old building with a sort of patio in the center, and around this patio they often carved out little caves out of the soft limestone rock for the pack animals of the travelers who stopped at the inn, or for their own sheep and oxen and donkeys when the weather got real cold. It just could have been that the innkeeper's wife thought of one of those stables. A woman would. And that she fixed up a bed of clean straw and laid Mary gently down on the straw and covered her and sat with her a little while. A woman would do that, for women think with their hearts more than men. The innkeeper was all business. His wife could have been a mother. I wonder how long we'd keep Christmas if it was up to the men.